Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show that brings you the day's biggest movie news, and of course, we give you insight into what it all means. Because basically, we want to make sure that you know more about movie news than all of your friends. Joining me, as always, at AMC Movie Talk, our senior editor, Mr. John Campia.
Good morning, Chris Lee. Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's time for John's favorite tweet of the day.
Woohoo!
The favorite tweet I got this week comes from James Porter, who wrote to me. He wrote, "I have a way to fix the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Put The Rock in it." Well said, sir. Well said.
Anything with The Rock.
Anything with The Rock becomes better.
Also joining us today is special guest from Shock Till You Drops website, and he will be a panelist on our Masters of the Web panel at Comic-Con, Mr. Ryan Turek.
Thanks for having me back on.
Of course.
Thanks for being had.
I have an idea for Pirates 5.
Yes?
Add Michael Fassbender. Fassbender for everything.
Fassbender and everything.
I go with that over The Rock.
Of course.
All right, let's get started. It seems Fox has a plan for the future of the X-Men universe, and that future could include X-Force. For those of you who may not know, X-Force is an offshoot team of the X-Men universe founded by a character named Cable. In the comics, when Cable reformed the group New Mutants, he renames them into X-Force and turns them into soldiers. They became a mutant black ops team assigned to kill not just the enemies of the X-Men, but all mutant kind. They are described as the militant and more aggressive counterpart to the X-Men. It's being reported that Kick-Ass 2 director Jeff Wadlow is being tapped to both write and direct an X-Force movie, although no official announcement has been made. John, what do you think of an X-Force movie?
I got a couple of really strange, conflicting feelings about this, much like many of the girls I dated growing up. Anyway, on the one hand, I've read X-Men stuff forever, so the more X-Men stuff, the better in many ways. And I love Cable. Cable is one of these characters that I've wanted to see. Cable, for those of you who don't know, Cable is this really, really badass character. First of all, he's the son of Cyclops and a Jean Grey clone named Madeline Pryor. I know this sounds confusing and diluted, but whatever. So anyway, as a baby, he gets taken into the future where he grows up, becomes this hard badass fighting Apocalypse, and he comes back to the present and he's a much older, big militant guy. Now he's hanging out with his dad, who is much younger than him. Whatever. He's also like unbelievably powerful. He could be one of the, if not the most powerful character in the entire Marvel universe, except for the fact that he has to constantly use his powers to keep this virus, this techno-virus he has in check. I know I've lost most of you, and that's fine. I'm sorry. But, so X-Force, a more gritty, more militant, that all sounds great. I do wonder, though, if it's something fans who I mean, look, you're already talking about X-Men. People have heard of Wolverine. They've heard of Professor X and stuff like that. I don't know how easy of a time they'll have getting the wider general audience to flock out to an X-Force movie. They'll have the strength of the Wolverine film and X-Men Days of Future Past. We also don't know if this is going to be connected in any way. Are they rebooting the universe after X-Men Days of Future Past? Will this be a continuation after X-Men Days of Future Past? We don't have any of these answers. The one very interesting thing about this, though, people have been talking and asking a long time for Deadpool. Deadpool is associated with X-Force. This could be Fox's way of getting Deadpool into the movie universe. Now, it would mean, obviously, it wouldn't be a rated R thing, which is unfortunate for Deadpool, but that could be a really cool thing that they're going to try. So I see a lot of potential in this. I just don't know how the public will react to it. Ryan, what do you think?
I think that the public will react pretty well, actually, because as long as you bring in a few connective, like a little bit of connective tissue,
That's
like
true.
bring in Hugh Jackman or anybody else from the X-Men universe, you're going to be okay. This is kind of, when they said X-Force movie, I went, okay, this is how they're going to start expanding that world and the property that Fox has. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool. I mean, that was the generation I grew up in. I was working at a comic book store when X-Force #1 came out with all of its variant covers. And obviously I was attracted to Cable, and I was super attracted to Domino. And I loved
the relationship between them.
Yeah, and Deadpool as well. And listen, I mean, like if X-Men Days of Future Past sets anything up, it could be setting things up and laying the groundwork for X-Force. Post-credit stuff, all of that. Listen, I mean, like, I think X-Men Days of Future Past will really dictate, I mean, the audience reaction will really dictate whether that franchise has more potential.
True.
And X-Force will hinder on that. My question is Jeff Wadlow the right guy for it?
Yeah, and that's been the question that's been going around a lot.
Well, he's suddenly become the superhero guy. Now, as a horror guy, he's the guy that directed Cry Wolf. which came out in like the mid 2000s, and that was something. But I'm really curious about Kick-Ass 2, you know, and I think that'll certainly prove his mettle. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Yeah.
The box office results are in, and it's another glorious victory for Gru and his minions as Despicable Me 2 took the #1 spot for the second week in a row with almost $45 million. The Adam Sandler sequel, Grown Ups 2, took second place with just over $42 million, and the Guillermo del Toro film Pacific Rim came in third with $38 million. John, 6 months ago, looking at this weekend, many would have predicted an easy walkaway win for Pacific Rim. What went wrong?
Yeah.
What happened?
I remember it was about a month or two ago, I started telling people, look, Grown Ups 2 is going to beat Pacific Rim when it came out. And people, the names that I was called was unbelievable. But it's just, it's kind of the same situation when people want to talk to me about a Batman Beyond film or a Teen Titans movie or something like that. And I try to tell them, look, I know you and every one of your friends in your circle, this community that you dwell in, all watched it, but nobody else did. And if you make a Batman Beyond movie, nobody's going to see it. And I try to explain that to people. And the same thing happened when I first started telling people like a while ago that, look, Grown Ups 2 is probably going to beat Pacific Rim at the box office. They started saying to me, no, you don't understand. All my friends are talking about it. We're all gonna go out and see it. Everybody I know is gonna see it. This thing's gonna make $100 million plus opening weekend. Not so much. I still think, we've talked about this before, I think the major flaw that came in the marketing for Pacific Rim, because the movie is flat out awesome. I've already seen it twice in theater. I'm going to go see it 2 or 3 more times. But the major flaw in it is this. It's this big spectacle thing, yes. Let's draw a comparison to the Avengers for a second, and let's really look at the differences. But when you looked at the trailers for Avengers, even people who didn't know what the Avengers were, a comic movie, when they saw the trailers, they saw fun. They put a lot of the humor in the trailers. They had some of the levity in the trailers. They put things in it that were likable to the general audience, as well as the big glorified action. We saw Hulk jumping from building to building, all that kind of stuff. With the marketing that they did for Pacific Rim, even though it's got some really cool comedic moments and some really nice charm to it and all that kind of stuff, right up until the week before the movie came out, we saw none of it. It was just giant monster and giant robot, failing to realize that's really going to impact me. Yeah. You got me with that, but you didn't get my mom with that. You didn't get my cousin with that. And that's all they showed over and over again, these big, huge, hulking monsters, and that's just not what's connected with most people. Throw in a little bit of Charlie Day in those commercials, throw a little bit of Ron Perlman in those commercials doing his thing, and I think you have a much better result. But this to me is the biggest box office tragedy of the year. Yeah. It really is, because this is a film that deserved more. Look, people are always asking and complaining. I'm sure you get this on your site too. Why doesn't Hollywood make some more original films? Yeah. Why don't they do things that have never been done before? Okay.
And then those come out and then they tank.
And then people don't
because
go see them.
everybody goes to see something familiar.
Yeah.
They go to see the sequel. They go to see Despicable Me 2. And I'm not knocking that movie by any means.
Right.
It's family. It's accessible. Grown Ups 2. Come on, guys. Really? You're the ones who are complaining about Grown Ups #1. Why are you going to see Grown Ups #2? You know, it's just it boggles my mind. But Pacific Rim, yeah, you're completely right. It's a marketing disaster. Go big with the robots and the monsters, and then you have to educate the people about what a Jaeger is. You have to educate them what a kaiju is. Throw in some Charlie Hunnam. Girls I know love Charlie Hunnam.
Oh, they do.
They love that guy. Play up to the sex appeal. Play up to the humor. Play up to the human element. And they started doing that like a little too late. With those 2 new trailers they debuted like a week before the movie came out.
Which were really good, but you're right,
trailers.
Too little too late.
Yeah, it was just a little late in the game for that stuff because that stuff was playing on the websites and playing on our respective sites. But it wasn't playing in theaters. It wasn't playing on TV, So they messed up. They messed up big time, and it really kind of sucks because you're right, Pacific Rim is terrific. And
one of the biggest tragedy of all this is still to come, and that's that not only can we all forget about a Pacific Rim sequel or whatever? We throw that out the door. I think this closes the door permanently on Hellboy 3.
Well, I don't know about that because Hellboy 3 is one of those movies that has endured and succeeded on DVD and home video sales. It's done really, really well for the studio, from my understanding. Not just in theaters, but it played the way it played in theaters, but then it was one of those movies that just found its audience on video. And like that, there was that point where there was the kid who was part of Make-A-Wish, and all he wanted to see was Ron Perlman in the Hellboy makeup.
And
that got so much press, and so many people came out to talk about how great Hellboy was. I don't think it closes the door on Hellboy 3. I don't think this is going to close the door completely on Pacific Rim future. Maybe not necessarily in film, but maybe in video games and comic books, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because, Pac Rim did make a ton of money. Well, not a ton of money, but it made like $100 million over the weekend, just worldwide.
91 worldwide.
Yeah, 91 worldwide. So, it's still a little bit ways to go. It probably won't make back what they really were hoping for.
Well, let's put it this way. This movie needs to make worldwide. It needs to make $400 million just to break even.
Yeah.
It's a long way
but
to go.
I don't think Legendary, Legendary, when I talked to Tom Toll, he really liked the property, and I don't think they're just going to close the door on it as an IP. There could be, I would love to see some comic books, if I can't get a movie, I'll buy some more graphic novels, because the prequel graphic novel was pretty great.
Yeah, it was. Did you get that case?
I did.
I'm going to show you the case sometime. Yeah. I'll bring in the case and I'll show you what
Oh,
I'm
you mean
about.
The gut case?
Yes. Isn't that
I
great?
didn't get that.
All right, folks, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Crystal Lee's got a bunch of other items in the world of movie news. She's going to list them off, and Ryan and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Crystal Lee, what do we got?
Johnny Depp just loves wearing wacky makeup.
Yes, he does.
Reports are circulating that Depp is close to signing on to reprise his role as the Mad Hatter in the upcoming Alice in Wonderland sequel, tentatively titled Through the Looking Glass. The first Alice in Wonderland movie, it made over $1 billion at the worldwide box office, so a sequel should come as a surprise to no one. Ryan, buy or sell Depp and Wonderland returning in Through the Looking Glass.
So the guys posing Wonderland questions to me and like Wizard of Oz. Sell this. Sell. I hated Alice in Wonderland so much. It just felt, I can rant for like an hour about Alice in Wonderland, but obviously it's a no-brainer for the studio to return to that world. It's a no-brainer for them to get Johnny Depp, because I remember the very first poster that they put out was Johnny Depp with that Mad Hatter thing, and that's what everybody connected to. I don't know how they're going to connect to him now that Lone Ranger has come out, and no one really flocked to go see that. But I, for one, am not looking forward to Through the Looking Glass, but it doesn't matter because you're all going to go see it anyway.
I also have to sell this. I'm
sorry.
I'm unpopular because I'm not a big fan of Tim Burton as a filmmaker, but I ate up the trailers for Alice in Wonderland. I thought it looked fantastic. At the time, I thought Johnny Depp was the perfect guy to do Mad Hatter. I thought this looked terrific. And my mom came and visited me from Canada. I took her to go see Alice in Wonderland. And I walked out, oh, what a mess that was.
It just feels, it's so artificial. The movie is just so artificial.
Many levels. And Ryan's completely right. There was just something that was just so inherently lacking about it. And it should have been great. It should have been wonderful. But true, it's a no-brainer. The movie makes $1 billion, but I gotta tell you about this. Look, we've been complaining a lot about Johnny Depp in these dressing up, whether he's Tonto or Captain Jack, or whether he's the Mad Hatter, or whether he's doing all these different things. And now he's got this great-looking little film coming out called Transcendence. This looks fantastic, but the two films after that are another Pirates of the Caribbean, and for those of you who don't know, he's got this movie coming out where he's playing the big bad wolf in a movie called Into the Woods. That's also got Jake Gyllenhaal and Anna Kendrick, who actually, I'm deeply in love with Anna Kendrick. And listen to this. Here's this description. I kid you not. This is the description of this movie. Into the Woods combines the well-known fairy tales of Cinderella, Rapunzel, Jack and the Beanstalk, and Little Red Riding Hood with the story of the baker and his wife who desperately want a child. Unfortunately, the baker and his wife have been cursed by being childless by a witch and must perform various missions involving the characters in other fairy tales to break the spell. The baker and his wife must bring to the witch a cow as white as milk, a cape as red as blood, a hair as yellow as corn, and a slipper as pure as gold. After a series of failed attempts, the baker and his wife finally are able to perform these tasks necessary to break the spell. Once the characters have accomplished their goals, however, they learn about the pitfalls of greed and gluttony. Finally, they learn about the need for community and family when they must listen to this, I'm not making this up, when they must unite to fight against the wife of the giant that Jack killed, who has decided to come back for revenge.
That's more dense than X-Force.
So we got Johnny Depp doing all this kind of stuff. Finally, Transcendence, getting back to some acting roots. Then he's going to be Captain Jack again, and then he's going to be the big bad wolf. So
And he's going to be the Mad Hatter again.
that was a long buy and sell segment. I'm sorry.
That was huge.
Next item.
I'm the only one excited for Through the Looking Glass, by the way. The only one. I stand alone. Star Trek star Zachary Quinto was at the Galway Film Festival in Ireland this past week and made some statements regarding the future of the new Star Trek movie franchise. Among his comments were that 1, he's been told they're going to start shooting Star Trek 3 in 2014. 2, he doesn't want to be in Star Wars Episode 7. And that 3, he thinks J.J. Abrams wants to come back and direct Star Trek 3. John, buy or sell Quinto's statement.
I'm going to break this up into 3 separate categories since he made 3 separate statements. On the statement that they're going to try to shoot in 2014, buy this. One of the mistakes of Star Trek In the Darkness was they waited 4 years. They lost a lot of momentum. I believe they get shooting in 2014, they can have it out in 2016, make it a 3-year wait. That's a great move by them, so I buy that. His statement number 2, that he doesn't want to be in Star Wars Episode 7. Translation, I was not asked to be in Star Wars Episode 7.
Yeah.
That's what that
Who
really
says
means.
no?
Who asked?
And number 3, he thinks J.J. Abrams wants to come back and direct Star Trek 3. I mean, that's an easy thing to say and a very popular thing to say because that's what his audience would want to hear. But J.J. Abrams is not coming back to direct Star Trek 3. Paramount's already put out the press release that he's going to be producing it, but he's going to be a little bit tied up with some other stuff when they start shooting that thing. So that's how I buy and sell those statements. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Although on the last statement, I actually think that Abrams might come out of nowhere and just squeeze Star Trek in there somewhere
If they
along
shoot
the way.
in 2014?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
not
know.
possible.
I don't
You
know.
are a filmmaker, sir. You know this is not
I don't
possible.
know. I might be privy to some information. I don't know. No, I think, regarding him being told Star Trek 3 is going to shoot in 2014, actors love to talk about that kind of stuff.
It's
But who's
true.
telling them that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like the grip that was working on on
Craft
some
services.
movie what Quinto's on told him, he's like, yeah, I heard that it might shoot Star Trek 3 in 2014. Who knows? Whatever. That's cool. I'm down with that momentum. I want to see them do a 3rd film because I thought Into Darkness, and here comes the comment board hate. I like the Into Darkness movie. It was okay.
I loved it.
I didn't love it. I thought it was good. And then regarding him being Star Wars, again, who asked you? Come on, man. I don't know.
Who says no to being in Star Wars?
Nobody
Come
does,
on.
and he didn't.
The annual Comic-Con starts this week in San Diego, and Fox Studios had already announced that they would be holding a major panel with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, The Wolverine, and a surprise. What's the surprise? Well, Fox just released this new image on its official Predators Facebook page that reads, "There's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man. We're all gonna die." The city in the background in the image, yes, that's San Diego. Ryan, buy or sell that Fox could be announcing a new Predator movie at Comic-Con this week?
I'm splitting this in 2, like John did. I buy that Fox is going to be announcing something Predator related. I'm going to sell the fact that it's a new Predators film. I don't think Fox is ready to do another Predator film. I talked to Robert Rodriguez last fall about it, and when Fox was changing hands, Robert Rodriguez told me that he was going to give him a call and say, hey, what's up with the new Predator movie? Because we should get going on it. I have heard through the grapevine that Fox is working on a post-converted Predator 3D. They're turning the Arnold Schwarzenegger film into a 3D film now. So that might be the announcement. That's what I'm guessing.
Following your 2 points, I'm going to buy that they're going to announce something Predator-related. And I'm also going to sell that it's actually a movie. Although I think there's more of a possibility to it than maybe you think, but I'll come on your side of the fence. I'll deny. Now, the fact that Robert Rodriguez hasn't heard anything about it yet, to me, that's kind of like the way you subtly break up with the girl without actually telling her you've broken up with her. Oh, yeah, I'll get back to you. Yeah, we'll get back to you. I got to admit, you know what? I didn't mind the Adrian Brody Predator. I didn't mind it. I thought that was a step up from a lot of the Alien versus Predator crap that we saw.
Yeah.
So I'd be okay for
You're
it.
talking to the Predator 2 fan over here. So
Well,
I didn't mind Predator 2 either.
So I mean, it's not going to happen, but it would be kind of interesting. I mean, it would be a shock if they came out and said new Predator movie with The Rock. And
Michael Fassbender?
and Michael Fassbender
as the Predator. No, it's just Michael Fassbender's head from Prometheus, just rolling around. Now, listen. Now, I don't know. Like, Fox knows how to put on a show. When they make an announcement like something like, "Hey, we're going to have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We're going to have the Wolverine and a surprise." Do you really think that surprise is going to be Predator related? I would figure it would be something bigger.
Here's the thing,
and
though.
More,
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a movie.
Yeah.
But the only thing that makes me hesitant about this a little bit. So you're going to have this panel of Planet of the Apes, big movie, Wolverine, big movie, and a surprise video game. That's the only thing that makes me wonder, maybe it could be a movie? If I had to put my money on, I'd say no.
Yeah, well, or X-Men.
Or another X-Men announcement?
I just figured no. I mean, I figured that maybe like Singer and his cast and crew might come down from Days of Future Past.
Oh, that would be cool. It's kind of like an Avengers thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I mean. When I saw the surprise, I figured, this is going to be an X-Men Days of Future Past thing. And they're going to trot them all out.
It's the kind of surprise we want.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, folks, we've come to that part of the show for the mailbag. Look, if you've got a topic or a question that you'd like us to address on the show, email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get to a couple questions every day on Movie Talk. And of course, we also do our Saturday and Sunday show, AMC Mailbag, where we get to a lot more of them. So send them in. Maybe we can get to your question on Movie Talk. Maybe we'll answer it on the weekends on Mailbag. But for now, Chrisley's got a few messages pulled out of the mailbags. Chrisley, what do we got?
Carla writes, "Hello, AMC Movie Talk. Love the show. Would it be possible to show your show before the movie starts at the theater instead or in addition to Inside Look that they play? Or at least play it before the movie at the midnight showings? Thanks for the show." I like Carla.
First of all, clearly you are a wise, intelligent,
I like her.
and most likely beautiful woman.
Yes.
I mean, this is something, oddly enough, this is something that's been talked about. Now, I sent in this suggestion to the head offices at AMC. For those of you who don't know, we record the show at the AMC Burbank 16 here in Burbank, California. I have no boss in this state. I don't answer anybody in the state. Our head office, AMC's head offices are not in Los Angeles. They're actually in Kansas. That's where our head offices are. And I don't know if half the people out there even know we exist. But that being said, I've sent in, I've emailed in suggestions to them, and I've suggested, hey, maybe we should put on AMC Movie Talk before the movies. Now, I've sent in 2 other suggestions as well. The one suggestion that we sent in at one point was, for every AMC movie theater that we have in the world, right at the front of the building where we have the AMC sign, right beside that should be a giant billboard of my face. Because when you have this level of handsomeness, it's something that you got, if you want to sell the tickets. I'm just trying to help you sell tickets.
Just trying.
Now, the second suggestion I also sent in was regarding to, we have a very bright, in case you don't know the story of AMC, we have a really smart dude who runs our company called Jerry Lopez. Now, he's our CEO, and I've sent him an email. I said, look, make me your right hand. I will be the Darth Vader to your glorious Emperor Palpatine. I will bring order to the galaxy, and we will expand the empire, and everything will be awesome. Now, the people at AMC are clearly smart enough to completely ignore everything that I send them. But regarding this question, laugh or not, we actually, there have been some talks about maybe putting some more AMC Movie Talk stuff actually in theaters.
Yeah.
So we will see how that goes. But with the inside look or that first look presentations that we see before the movies in theaters, that makes us money. and if I promise you, if Jerry Lopez said, hey, John, should we run AMC Movie Talk or make money by playing this first look stuff? I'll say, Jerry, you play the first look stuff. If you have the option, that's what you do. But look, really smart people running this company, and they are looking at this kind of stuff. So let's see what comes in the future.
If you get the poster, Clark, Amy Rose, and I should be the Charlie's Angels next to you.
Don't laugh. I've thought about doing a Comic-Con poster of me in some big leather chair with like John's Angels or something with you guys behind me. I thought that'd be, and Dennis on my lap.
And can you have a guy that just like a cutout face and then
just
you
your head will
slide
float.
me in there every once in a while?
Your head will just float.
Like Michael Fassbender's head. Keep bringing that back.
Antonio Jakes writes, when X-Men Days of Future Past was announced, I was really excited about it. As time has gone on and small details have been released, I'm becoming less excited. One problem I had with the X-Men movies is that they felt more like the Wolverine show instead of an X-Men movie. Based on the photos and comments by Hugh Jackman, it seems like Wolverine will be the one being sent back in time instead of Kitty Pryde. I am tired of Wolverine taking up the majority of the screen time and would like a balance between the X-Men team.
Ryan, what do you think?
Listen, man, that's Hugh Jackman's face is what sells, not Ellen Page. It's Or no, Ellen Page. I'm saying Ellen Page like she's Kitty Pryde.
Yes.
No, wrong. I'm sorry. Comment boards hate. It's just like you gotta hinge it all on who sells, and Hugh Jackman sells. Hugh Jackman gets my folks into the theater. It's like I don't mind it. I'm really apprehensive about X-Men: Days of Future Past. I really liked X-Men First Class and what they did with it. I was thinking about it this morning before I came over to the show. It's got like so much attitude that X-Men, the franchise, was starting to lose. It had a voice, and with Singer back in, it feels like they're just cramming all this stuff in there with new mutants being added almost weekly, and just new characters and all that stuff. But I mean, I guess when it's a time travel story too, you get to play with that. But in terms of it all riding on Wolverine, listen, man, when I grew up, Wolverine was awesome. I wanted to see Wolverine all the time, And granted, I had my favorite mutants, but Wolverine, why not?
Yeah, I mean, the Knucklehead, as he's so endearingly called. Look, Wolverine, you're just talking about Hugh Jackman as the face.
Yeah, he is the face.
And Wolverine is the character. I mean, Wolverine is, look, there's not even a discussion to have. By far and away, within the circle of the X-Men universe, Wolverine is the most popular, marketable, and sellable character.
Which is interesting because when he is surrounded by other mutants and surrounded by other, like tons of other characters like the X-Men films, he's really popular. But then when he's on his own, the reaction seems a little bit different.
Well, they've also made a really crap on his own movie, which
yeah.
I had something to do with it, because I know I was there opening night for it, and I'll be there opening night for this one. But yeah, you got to go. And honestly, when it really comes down to it, as a film fan, does it focus more on Magneto? Does it focus more on Wolverine? Does it focus more on Kitty Pryde? Does it focus more on that? My answer is I don't care. Give me a good movie. You give me a great X-Men Days of Future Past movie, I'm okay with what's his name who plays Snake Eyes in G.I. Joe. I'm really okay with him coming back to play Toad again and him being
Ray
the
Park.
Ray Park, thank you. You make Ray Park the main character. As long as it's a great movie, I'm fine with it if the movie's great. So, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like, you and I have we've grown up doing this for a long time, so we also know not to prejudge anything, even though, I mean, I could say, oh my gosh, it sounds like a mess because they're adding new mutants, like, weekly, but honestly, it really just, we know not to prejudge until we actually in the theater, sitting down, watching it, and like you said, if it's a great story and it plays to my taste, I'm game. I'm down.
Me too.
HJR writes, greetings and salutations, fellow AMC movie talkers. I was just wondering that if they do happen to make a prequel to Pacific Rim, then why not make a story about how the kaiju tried to fight the dinosaurs and failed? It could even help us get a perspective of who and what aliens are.
Okay, before anybody gets upset that hasn't seen Pacific Rim yet, that is not a spoiler, okay?
No.
Any little detail, there's this one scene where Ron Perlman has a piece of toast. That's not a spoiler. That's
What?
This isn't an important thing.
No.
This isn't an important detail to the plot. This is a passing comment that's made in the movie, so don't worry, we didn't just spoil the movie for you, okay? Yeah. But to answer your question, I've seen the film twice now. I'm not really sure the conversation suggested that kaiju were fighting dinosaurs in the first place. I mean, dinosaurs are mentioned, but I didn't get a sense of really what the context was. But let's move beyond that. Besides the fact that I don't think Legendary will ever want to look at doing another Pacific Rim movie because of the financial results that we've had now, what would a kaiju versus dinosaurs movie look like?
Pacific Rim
No
and
humans.
Jurassic Park
You
together.
want a movie to promote with no humans? That would be it.
And here's the dialogue. So the kaiju says, ah, and then the dinosaur says,
It's a cool idea. I mean, like, let's not knock. I mean, it is a neat idea, but it's best left for something like in a graphic novel.
Absolutely. I was going to say that.
It's best something like because I remember there was a Dark Horse comic book that Steve Bissette did like many years ago. That was no dialogue and just dinosaurs doing their thing, but there was a story that was in it. And then Disney came out like a long time ago with that dinosaur movie.
Yep.
And I was like, yes, they adapted the comic book. Dumb, I know. And I was like, but it would be really neat if they presented a film that had absolutely no dialogue and it was just a story told in pictures. And it turned out not to be that at all.
Which is kind of what the first half of WALL-E was.
Yeah,
in many ways.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and this would serve that. That would be a kind of a cool story to have those aliens versus dinosaurs. But again, best left for
Yeah, I was gonna say that exact thing. That a big screen in a movie theater is probably not the best medium for this kind of story, but that doesn't mean there aren't mediums that this kind of story could actually be really quite cool. Yeah. I just don't see the.
What if they put The Rock in it?
But if The Rock is fighting a T-Rex on one hand and then turns his attention, then him and the T-Rex have to combine forces to fight Leatherback, who was around back then, a Category 4 kaiju. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry.
Pain and Gain Rock.
Pain and Gain Rock.
He was so big in that movie.
He was huge. All right, folks, listen, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, look, this week is Comic-Con, and I have to mention this again. Couple of big things. First of all, as Chris Lee mentioned, Ryan is going to be on the Masters of the Web panel this year. We're so excited. It's a special horror theme this year. We've got the writer and the director from the upcoming Lionsgate film You're Next, who's going to be on that panel with us. We're going to be talking about horror movies and the genre and the state of it in the industry today. Really excited. That's going to be Thursday morning in room 24 ABC. So if you're going to be at Comic-Con, come on down to the panel. We cannot wait to see you there. Now, also in the evening, on Thursday evening, we're having an AMC Movie Talk meet and greet. And on the first floor of the Omni Hotel in the bar there, yes, if you're under 21, I said 19 before because I'm Canadian. If you're under 21, you are allowed to come in and see us there. We're going to be from 7 till 8:30. Come on down, meet us, and we look forward to seeing you there. Now, on Wednesday night, this is big. That film we just talked about, You're Next, Lionsgate is having a special advance screening, and I believe it's free if you get down there in time and are in line.
I was going to ask you, I got somebody tweeted at me this morning asking how they can get tickets.
I believe there are no tickets.
Yeah.
Now your site has some tickets
We
you're
gave
giving
some away. Yeah, we're full out.
We're giving some away as well. That just guarantees you get in, but it is free to get in. So if you just come down and get in line early enough, I believe the screening is at 9, is it 9?
I think so, yeah.
9 o'clock at the Gaslamp Reading Theater. Come on down, get in line, and I'll be there walking up and down the line to say hi to some folks. Hopefully you can get in. I'm so excited about this. Listen, folks, while I've got you, take a second and click on that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. Keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And listen, go on out and see Pacific Rim tonight.
Please.
Or Despicable Me 2, which is actually quite charming. I liked it a lot. Go on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. I want to thank, as always, our lovely host, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy. Chris Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Chris Lee, and I'll see you at Comic-Con.
Also want to thank our very special guest, Mr. Ryan Turek. Ryan, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at _Ryan Turek and also at shocktillyouDrop.com.
And you can find me at John Campia. I'm the only one around, apparently. So thanks a lot for joining us, folks. Until next time, my name's John Campia, and until then, bye-bye.